What's up, everyone? Welcome to Power Play with CJ. In recent weeks, I think it was last week, I talked about the peaks and valleys of Massachusetts hockey, which I talked about ad nauseum. Especially in the wake of the Olympic debacle, both for the U.S. and I think there wasn't any Massachusetts players on the team. But I've talked about White, Hannafin, obviously Jack Eichel, the can't miss kid. But I've neglected the women's side of it, and it's ironic. I've been calling Eichel the can't miss kid, the original can't miss kid from the northern metro north area of Boston was Bobby Carpenter, and his daughter Alex, who had an amazing Olympic tournament for Team USA. I think represents the women's side of that Massachusetts hockey rebirth. And women's hockey and girls hockey in Massachusetts has been on the upswing as long as I can remember. I remember my cousin won the state championship for Boston Latin Academy. Like 2002, 2003. She was a captain. It was kind of like she was one of the first women in our family, woman, to play hockey and play beyond recreationally. She was a hell of a player, and it's funny. Alex Carpenter was an amazing youth hockey player, and it was a couple years ago. I'm dating myself now, but it was, I think, the Waltham rank. I'm gonna have to really go back on this one, but her and Bobby Carpenter were walking in, and my dad and I were walking out. Now, if we were gonna play a 2-on-2 game, I think you can safely assume we'd win that. But it was funny. I just held the door, and my dad goes, "You should have talked to him." Talk to who? That was Bobby Carpenter. Like, St. John Prep Bobby Carpenter? Yeah. It's like, oh, as we're in the car pulling out of the lot, running back in, Mr. Carpenter, Mr. Carpenter. But, and her brother's going to be drafted this year. Rob and I've talked about a few times on the show. But I really think with her performance at the Olympics, I believe she led Hockey East last year in scoring for BC. With next year, I think she's going to be the Paul Kariya of women's hockey in terms of, Kariya was one and done. But Kariya set the record for scoring in a single season for, I believe NCAA hockey, Hockey East for sure. But I think she's going to set the Hockey East record next year, and possibly as a senior. I think it's funny. She was, I believe, a 17-year-old freshman at BC, 2 years ago. And she played 2 years, Olympic year. She had 2 more years there at the Heights, and I think she's going to, set some records, and hopefully, for the sake of the BC Eagles, get them back in the national championship, get them in the national championship conversation, and bring a women's championship to match all those men's ones they've won in the last couple of years. Now, going further, I think in 2018 she'll be, 22, 23, 24. I was never great. The math is still my strong suit. So she's going to have an even bigger role in the women's Olympic team. And, I think for someone that's a competitor, in any sport, regardless of gender, you're looking at coming back from a heartbreaking loss like they did in the gold medal game against the Canadians. And they're going to come back in 2018 flying. And, they get the World Cup, the Four Nations Cups, the World Championships in the meantime to, take it out on Canada and, remind them that when it counts again in South Korea in 4 years, we're going to come ready to go, and I'm curious. I hope it's Massachusetts' own Alex Carpenter at the forefront, and hopefully we'll get a few more Massachusetts players at the 2018 Olympics, because as a kid from Boston, it's tough, and being actually from Boston and being able to take the T to Bruins games throughout my life, and growing up just with a love of the game, not seeing the Yandos and guys like that over there, it was tough, and hopefully the revival comes full circle in the next couple of years. I'm excited. I'm sure y'all are excited. And anyway, that's on this episode of the Power Play with CJ on Alex Carpenter's role in what I've called in the last year and a half the revival of Massachusetts hockey. Stay tuned for more episodes for the season and beyond. Later, guys.